In our last couple sections, we were talking about ratios and then proportions, and I want to go back to ratios for just a moment because there's a special kind of ratio that compares a number to 100 that we call a percent. The word percent means per hundred. Percents can be represented as fractions, that is, fractions in lowest terms, and decimals. So let's take a look at that. We're going to write each percent as a ratio to 100. So this will be 25 hundredths. It's going to be 25 out of 100. Let's see how that looks. 25 over 100. It's per hundred. It's a ratio to 100. This is a common one. Everyone should know that 25% is 1/4. Let's jump down to 50%, another easy one. That's 50 out of 100, or 50 per hundred, which simplifies to 1/2. And then we have all these other percents in between. We could have 6%, which is 6 out of 100, divide by the GCF, which is 2, and we get 3/50ths in lowest terms. We have 12%, which is 12 out of 100, divide by the GCF, or common factor, of 4, and there is our ratio in lowest terms. So again, percent can be written as a ratio to 100. Percents can also be written as decimals. Now I read this as 25 hundredths, and if I write it as a decimal, this is 25 hundredths. Another way to remember this is that 25%, you drop the sign and move your decimal over 2 places because you're dividing by 100. Again, the same thing here. I have that 6%. I drop the symbol and I move my decimal over 2 places because I'm dividing by 100. 50%. And lastly, 12 hundredths. 12% is 12 hundredths. We'll be coming back to this because we'll be doing some percent applications, but I'm going to follow along with the order of the textbook, and we're going to talk about percent of change. What is it? Well, it's this difference between a starting amount and an ending amount. So the original amount, the difference between the original amount and the change divided by the original amount is going to be a percent change. Now, if the new number or the ending number is greater than the original, numbers are going up, it's an increase. And in reverse, if the original amount is then less, then we're going to find that it's going to be percent decrease. So we're going to determine whether each percent of change is an increase or decrease, and then find what that percent is. So I'm going to start with, or have an original amount of 20 and a final amount of 23. So if I'm going from 20 to 23, that is a percent increase. The numbers are going up. So from 20, so I might even say from 20 to 23 is an increase. So now what are we going to do? Here are our steps. Subtract the original amount from the final amount. All right, so I'm going to get now 23 minus 20, divided by the original amount, which was 20. It's always the starting amount on the bottom. Then we simplify this, and I get 3 over 20. Now I have to change this to percent, and there's several ways to do that. And one way is with a proportion, which we just finished talking about. 3 is to 20 as x is to 100, because remember, percent is per 100, and we don't know what the percent is. If we choose this method, we'll have 20 times x is equal to 3 times 100. We'll divide by 20, and we get x is equal to, now I can cross out 1 0 there, and I divide 30 by 2, and I get 15. But I can't write 15. I have to write 15%, and it's an increase. Okay, so that's one problem. Let's do some more. The original amount is 25 and the final amount is 17. We're going to be subtracting again. And they sometimes will tell you to subtract one from the other. I always subtract the lower number from the higher number without getting those negatives. So we know that the numbers are going down. So we're going from, again, let's spell this out, from 25 to 17. Numbers are going down, so this is going to be a decrease. Since the new amount is less than the original, this is a percent decrease. We'll start with 8 because that's the difference, the change, and the base number will be 25, the original amount. It's always the original. Again, I can set this up as a proportion. If you'd like, we can do cross products. This is one method. I will teach you another. Some people like this method, especially because we just finished learning about proportions. So I have 25 times x is equal to 8 times 100, which is 800. The other method would be to look at equivalent fractions, and you get from 25 to 100 is times 4. And I can simply do the same here, times 4. I'm going to find when I divide, I'll get the same thing. I'll get x is equal to 32. Now, I can't just write 32. I have to say 32%. And we saw that the numbers went down, so it's 32% decrease. We'll do several more in class. I just wanted to give you a sample, but this will be our next couple problems. We're going to, again, I'll just set this one up and then we'll let you practice these in class today. We're going to start with our percent change. Change says let's take the difference. Let's find what that difference is. What's the change? Always, always, always start, have your base as your starting or original amount. Go ahead and find the change, divide, and convert that to a percent. We'll set up one more, and we'll do these, like I said, in class. I always, first of all, let's go back to this one. Numbers go from 66 to 30. Numbers are going down, decrease. Here I'm looking again from 24 to 40. This time, numbers going up, increase. What do I do to set this up? I define the change, which is the difference, and always, always, always the original is your base number. You'll simplify the top by subtraction. You'll set up your proportion, and you'll write a percent of change. Once again, we'll finish these couple in class.